The old lady's eyes fluttered open, adjusting to the strange metallic glow around her. Her wrinkled hands trembled as she touched the smooth surface beneath her. The room was circular, with walls that seemed to shimmer like liquid silver. But what made her breath catch wasn't the unfamiliar surroundings, it was the being standing before her. They were tall, easily 8 feet in height, with translucent skin that pulsed with gentle blue light. Their large, dark eyes watched her with a mixture of fear and fascination. One of them stepped forward, its movements graceful despite its towering height. "She's awake," it spoke, its voice carrying an ethereal quality. "The last vessel of human consciousness has survived the preservation process." The woman tried to speak, but her voice came out as a whisper. Where am I?" The beings exchanged glances, their skin flickering with patterns of light that seemed to communicate something between them. The one who had spoken turned back to her, lowering itself to her eye level. "You are aboard the Sanctuary Station, orbiting what was once called the Andromeda Galaxy. You have been in preservation sleep for 50 Earth years." It paused, those dark eyes studying her face. "You are the last successfully awakened human consciousness in this sector of the universe." The woman's hands gripped the edge of the platform she sat on. Memories flooded back, the warning, the choice, the goodbye to her family. But nothing had prepared her for this moment. "The others?" she asked, her voice stronger now. "Lost. The preservation process was imperfect. Of the 1,000 consciousness vessels sent out, you are the only one in this sector to maintain complete neural integrity." The being's skin pulsed with what seemed like respect. "Your species' emotional capacity was far more complex than we anticipated. Most vessels couldn't handle the transfer." She looked down at her hands, the same age-spotted hands that had once guided countless students through their lessons. The same hands that had wiped tears, offered comfort, and shaped young minds for over 40 years. "Why me?" she whispered, more to herself than to them. The being's response made her look up sharply. "Because you feel. Because you remember. Because in you, we see everything that made humanity unforgettable." The other beings moved closer, their lights pulsing in sync. They weren't just scientists studying a specimen, she realized. They were afraid of what she represented, afraid of the depth of human emotion they sensed in her. And in that moment, she understood why she had been chosen. It wasn't just about preserving human consciousness. It was about teaching the universe what it meant to be human. The being extended its hand, the gesture surprisingly human-like. "Will you help us understand?" She reached out, her weathered hand meeting their luminescent one. In that touch, 2 vastly different forms of life connected, and the real story of humanity's legacy was about to begin. 6 months before her awakening, the world was different. Scientists at observatories across Earth noticed something unusual in their readings. Deep space telescopes detected an approaching anomaly, a wave of cosmic energy unlike anything ever recorded. Dr. Chen of the Global Space Initiative called an emergency meeting. In a dimly lit conference room, representatives from every major space agency gathered around screens showing the wave's trajectory. The data was clear: Earth had less than a year before this cosmic wave would reach them. "This isn't just radiation," Dr. Chen explained, her voice steady despite the gravity of her words. "This energy wave breaks down atomic bonds. Nothing we know of can shield against it." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Billions of lives, thousands of years of human civilization, all facing extinction. But humanity had one advantage: time to prepare, even if just a little. That's when the Consciousness Preservation Project began. In secret facilities across the globe, scientists worked tirelessly to develop technology that could preserve human consciousness. They knew they couldn't save everyone's physical form, but perhaps they could save what made us human: our memories, experiences, and emotions. "We've detected advanced civilizations in nearby galaxies," Dr. Chen revealed. If we can preserve even a fraction of human consciousness, there's a chance someone out there can help us survive. They designed special vessels, quantum storage units that could hold human consciousness in a stable state. But early tests showed a problem. Most minds couldn't handle the preservation process. The emotional trauma of transfer was too great, causing the consciousness to fragment. That's when they realized they needed something special. Not just any minds would do. They needed people with extraordinary emotional resilience. People who had lived full lives, experienced deep joys and sorrows, and emerged stronger. The selection process began quietly. Teams analyzed millions of psychological profiles, looking for candidates who might survive the transfer. They needed people whose minds were strong enough to endure not just the preservation process, but the awakening in an alien world. As the cosmic wave drew closer, thousands of volunteers stepped forward. Each knew the risk, that they might never wake up, or worse, wake up as something less than human. But they also knew it was humanity's only chance at survival. In those final months, Earth's greatest minds worked together like never before. Previous conflicts were forgotten as humanity united in its desperate bid for survival. The preservation vessels were launched in waves, sent in different directions across space. As the cosmic wave approached, those left behind could only hope that somewhere, somehow, humanity would live on through the chosen few they'd sent to the stars. No one knew then that only one consciousness in their sector would survive intact, that of an elderly teacher whose lifetime of empathy and understanding would become humanity's greatest gift to the universe. The selection process was meticulous. Each candidate underwent rigorous psychological evaluations, but the chosen ones weren't selected for their scientific knowledge or physical capabilities. They were chosen for their hearts. She had been teaching for 40 years when they found her. Her classroom had seen thousands of students pass through its doors. Each child who entered brought their own story, their own struggles, and she had listened to them all. From troubled teens to gifted youngsters, she had guided them with patience and understanding. The evaluation team was particularly interested in how she handled a crisis 15 years ago. A troubled student had brought a weapon to school, intending to hurt others. But she had talked to him, not with fear or anger, but with compassion. She saw past his anger to the pain beneath. That day, she saved not just lives, but a soul. Her file was filled with similar stories. The time she spent 6 months helping a dyslexic student learn to read, staying after school every day. The year she used her own money to buy winter coats for 3 siblings whose family couldn't afford them. The countless letters from former students, now adults, telling her how she changed their lives. Your emotional resilience scores are off the charts, the project psychologist told her. You've faced tragedy, loss, and hardship, yet maintained your capacity for empathy and joy. That's exactly what we need. They explained the project to her carefully. The preservation process would save her consciousness, but she would leave everything behind, her family, her home, her world. She would carry humanity's legacy to the stars. Her grandchildren were grown now, with families of their own. Her husband had passed 5 years ago. Still, the decision wasn't easy. She spent days watching old family videos, touching photographs, remembering. Why me? She asked during the final interview. I'm just a teacher. The project leader smiled. That's exactly why. You've spent your life teaching people to understand themselves and each other. Now, you might have the chance to teach an entire universe. The preservation chamber was cold and sterile, but she faced it with the same courage she'd shown her students. As the process began, she held on to her memories, the laughter of children, the joy of discovery, the power of understanding. Her last thought before the preservation took hold was of hope, hope that somewhere among the stars, humanity's story would continue through her. The day of the preservation procedure arrived with a mix of hope and solemn determination. The facility hummed with activity as scientists made final adjustments to the preservation chamber. Monitors displayed her vital signs: steady heart rate, normal blood pressure, calm brainwaves despite what lay ahead. She lay in the chamber, surrounded by advanced technology beyond her understanding. The scientists had explained that her consciousness would be transferred into a quantum matrix, preserving not just memories but the very essence of what made her human. As they began the procedure, memories flooded through her mind. Her first day of teaching, nervous and excited. The faces of countless students who'd passed through her classroom. Her husband's smile. Her children's first steps. Her grandchildren's laughter. The preservation process was unlike anything she'd imagined. It felt like every moment of her life was happening simultaneously: joy, sorrow, triumph, and loss all woven together into the tapestry of her existence. Then came the hardest part, the goodbyes. Her family gathered around her, understanding the magnitude of her sacrifice. Her daughter held her hand, tears streaming down her face. "Mom, are you sure about this?" She squeezed her daughter's hand. "Someone needs to tell our story. Someone needs to show them who we were, who we are." Her grandson, now a young man, stepped forward. "Will you remember us?" "Always," she promised. "Every story, every lesson, every moment, I'll carry them all." The scientists began the final phase. The chamber filled with a soft, blue light. She felt herself becoming lighter, as if her very essence was being carefully lifted from her physical form. The last thing she heard was her family's voices, telling her they loved her. Then everything shifted. Her consciousness expanded, contracted, transformed. She became aware of her memories being encoded into quantum patterns, each precious moment preserved in perfect detail. Time lost all meaning. She floated in a sea of memories, held in suspension between what was and what would be. Earth, her home, her family, all preserved within her consciousness, waiting to be shared with whatever intelligence would find her. As her awareness faded into preservation sleep, she held on to one thought: she would carry humanity's legacy to the stars, not through technology or achievements, but through stories, through love, through the simple, profound truth of what it meant to be human. The metallic room hummed with a different energy now as she shared her first story with the alien beings. Their translucent skin pulsed with changing colors as they absorbed her words, her emotions, her memories. "When we first detected your vessel," the lead alien explained, "we feared what we might find. Human emotion readings were so intense, so chaotic. We thought you might be dangerous." She smiled, the wrinkles around her eyes deepening. "Emotions are what make us human. Let me show you." Through their advanced technology, she shared the memory of a struggling student who'd lost his mother. The aliens watched as she stayed after school, day after day, helping him process his grief. They felt the boy's pain, his healing, and the profound impact of human compassion. The alien's skin flickered rapidly, processing these new sensations. "Such depth of feeling," one whispered. "How do you bear it?" "That's the beauty of being human," she explained. "We don't just bear our emotions, we grow through them. Every joy, every sorrow, every moment of connection shapes us." She shared more memories: a classroom celebrating when a student finally understood a difficult concept, the quiet triumph of helping a shy child find their voice, the bittersweet pride of watching her students graduate. The aliens were particularly fascinated by laughter. They'd never encountered anything like it, the pure, unfiltered expression of joy that could bridge any gap, heal any wound. "Your species' capacity for empathy is remarkable," the lead alien observed. "We've studied many civilizations, but none quite like humans." As she shared more stories, she noticed subtle changes in the aliens' behavior. They moved closer, their movements became more fluid, more expressive. They were learning, not just observing but beginning to understand the power of human connection. Through her, they began to grasp what made humanity unique in the universe. Not our technology or achievements, but our ability to feel, to connect, to transform lives through simple acts of kindness and understanding. The aliens recorded everything, preserving each story, each emotion, each lesson about what it meant to be human. They were beginning to understand why she had been chosen. She wasn't just a vessel of consciousness, she was a teacher of humanity's greatest gifts. The aliens began a remarkable transformation in their understanding of human nature. Their research facility, once cold and sterile, slowly filled with art and music, attempts to recreate the human experiences she shared. She taught them about resilience through stories of her students overcoming challenges. She showed them courage through memories of standing up for what's right. Each lesson revealed new depths of human potential. The aliens' initial fear of human emotions evolved into admiration. They studied how humans could experience profound sorrow yet still find joy, how love could persist through hardship, how hope could survive even the darkest times. Your species channels emotions into creation, an alien researcher noted, studying a child's crayon drawing she'd kept in her memories. You transform pain into art, confusion into discovery, longing into innovation. They developed technology to better understand human emotional patterns. Each session revealed new insights about human consciousness. Other alien species began visiting the facility, drawn by reports of these discoveries. The aliens learned that human strength wasn't in suppressing emotions, but in embracing them. They watched memories of classroom moments where understanding bloomed, where kindness healed wounds, where patience transformed lives. We believed advanced civilization meant moving beyond emotions, the lead alien admitted. Now we see that true advancement lies in understanding them. Through her teachings, the aliens began developing their own capacity for emotional expression. Their communications became richer, their society more nuanced. They learned the value of stories, of shared experiences, of emotional connections. Her influence spread beyond the research facility. Alien civilizations that had once viewed emotions as primitive began to see them as sophisticated tools for understanding the universe. They realized that humanity's greatest technology wasn't in machines, but in hearts that could feel, minds that could empathize, and souls that could grow. The discovery sent ripples through the galactic community. Other preserved human consciousness vessels had survived, scattered across different alien civilizations. Each had woken with their own stories, their own pieces of humanity to share. A scientist on a distant world had awakened with memories of medical breakthroughs. An artist's consciousness shared the beauty of human creativity. A farmer taught alien worlds about Earth's connection to nature. Through quantum communications, she connected with these other survivors. Each had touched their host civilizations in unique ways. Together, they painted a complete picture of humanity's legacy. Your species survives through story, the lead alien observed. Each consciousness carries not just memories, but wisdom. News spread of successful consciousness preservation on distant worlds. Some taught alien children about Earth's history. Others helped establish cultural exchange programs between different species. The aliens developed a network linking all discovered human consciousness vessels. Regular gatherings allowed them to share experiences and ensure humanity's knowledge wasn't lost. They found human vessels in all corners of known space, teachers, artists, healers, builders, dreamers. Each preserved a different aspect of human culture, proving that humanity's greatest achievement was its diversity of thought and experience. Together, these scattered vessels of human consciousness became bridges between civilizations, teaching the universe that emotions weren't weakness, they were the threads that wove the fabric of existence itself. Their influence created a new understanding of consciousness across the galaxy. Different species began appreciating emotional intelligence alongside technological advancement, forever changing how civilizations viewed progress. The final chapter of humanity's legacy unfolded across the stars with profound impact. From the lessons learned through preserved human consciousness, alien civilizations established the Human Legacy Initiative. This program spread Earth's most valuable teachings: compassion, creativity, resilience, and the power of emotional connection. Space stations transformed into cultural centers where different species studied human art, music, and literature. The elderly teacher's impact was particularly significant. Her teaching methods were adapted for intergalactic education, showing how understanding emotions led to deeper learning and growth. The universe discovered that humanity's greatest gift wasn't technology or scientific knowledge, it was our capacity to feel, to connect, and to transform through those connections. As alien civilizations embraced these lessons, they developed new ways of solving age-old conflicts. Species that once fought now sought understanding. The emotional intelligence humans had cultivated over millennia became a blueprint for universal peace. The old teacher, whose simple classroom stories had started this transformation, watched as her legacy grew beyond anything she could have imagined. Her final lesson to the universe was simple but profound: true strength lies not in power or technology, but in the ability to touch hearts and change lives through understanding and compassion. Earth may have been lost, but humanity's spirit lived on, teaching the universe that being unforgettable isn't about surviving physically, it's about touching hearts and transforming souls across the vast expanse of space and time. Her consciousness, along with the others, had become eternal teachers in the greatest classroom of all, the universe itself.